most, if not all, of the costs from the town side that are, because Kyle was concerned when this came up, and I know he spent a lot of time with Joe Tassoni, town finance director, to make, to really feel comfortable, and that's also why he met with the town auditor. But
I think, and I might be calling this wrong, but when North Reading left that line blank, they put in an average. So there was
no, they put in
Not
zero.
on that line.
That
but
line
in our
has been-
reports to the state.
No,
from the
it's been
company.
zero.
So what we're saying then is that A, the data in the benchmark is a correct reflection of the data as reported to the state.
Correct.
The data reported to the state was leaving out this item.
Yes.
And it's going to be corrected. This item came from the town side of the spending, so it was not something that we could have picked up. And if we can make an estimate as to what the impact would be on the per students.
Right. We can probably go back to 5 years, or however many years we want. I'm sure they have.
If we can get that data.
Right. Right.
The question here is if you look at, and Municipal Benchmarking recently came out with another set of data for communities that are members of Municipal Benchmark, that you can actually go into their database and pull out what other towns are spending. I think it was per capita, so it
Right.
wasn't on a per pupil basis.
Yeah.
You would see tremendous variation.
And a lot of towns reporting zero. You know,
Right.
there were three or four, maybe 5 other towns in our peer group of towns that were also reporting zero.
Well, there had to have been some confusion if the auditors didn't pick it up.
Right.
Well, that's one of the reasons why at some point in the near future, I'd like to bring the town auditor here.
The town auditor or the town accountant?
No, the town
Yeah.
auditor, Kingston, to meet with the school committee at our expense to go over those auditing practices, what were some of what was found, what was not found, and what are you seeing in other communities? Because you will see great variation on that account. And it raises a question, should you be counting off as part of the per pupil expense the cost of paying for the health insurance for retirees, not existing current employees? So that's a question, and a community certainly can decide how they want to.
If you were, I think standard accounting would say that you should have been recognizing that cost along the way as an accrued liability and doing something with the actuarial tables to figure out how to estimate it. But it should be, it was actually earned by these teachers when they were working here, and it should have been accounted for at that time.
But again, the difference also is that, keep in mind that all of these costs, the insurance costs, are taken off the top before we start getting down to.
But that's just our internal budgeting account, and with the town, that has nothing to do with per capita
It's all
spending.
relative. The formula's the same for everybody. Everyone's doing this thing.
But see, that's the problem. A lot of towns are reporting zero, the way we were. And so you can't
It's
get
assigned to that fixed cost and that shared cost to everyone.
I know, but it's a cost that, based on the report you're supposed to do,
Yes.
determine per pupil expenditures is supposed to be included.
Right.
So,
Oh, maybe that changed. Doesn't matter.
No, just
Big difference
the
in
$250 per
validity.
student in fiscal 2007 might move us up 4 or 5 notches from being 10th from the bottom to 15th or 20th, but we're still $3,000 below the state average. So it doesn't. It's not like it makes a big difference.
I know, but
But it should be there.
we need to give people a number
Right.
if we can do it.
If we're seeking transparency, it should be there. Marcy, do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, may I?
Sure.
Is it possible among the 21 communities in the benchmarking study to find out who reported zero on that line? and who
Yes.
didn't?
Yeah.
So we can come back with an apples to apples comparison,
There were, right.
just for that line?
There were 4 or 5 others, I think.
Yeah, I know you said that, so they're going to look at the 20.
We got it.
Oh,
I mean,
you
that's
do?
in the report.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
You need the magnifying glass to go
Yeah,
through it, but
Okay, okay, I just want to make sure we compare.
Yes.
yeah.
Any other questions, comments on this? Okay, next we have a request from Mr. Bernard, the high school principal, for approval for a ski trip for the high school, and this is being coordinated by Mr. Chuck Campasso, who is a teacher at the high school. And it's for 42 students, and it's a day trip to Mount Sunapee in December. And we have at least five high school teachers who are going to chaperone the trip. And this is a day trip. There's no overnight issue here, but it is a trip out of state.
Motion to approve. Second. Steve? No, second.
Questions?
I'm just, when we do this thing in the middle school,
Right, we're going to ski every
very
year.
ample
Right,
chaperones.
right.
Actually, I'm sorry, I get remiss at times. We should have waited for the superintendent's recommendation.
I actually mind.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the ski trip and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? Next, we have bills and payrolls. I believe they are completed.
Yes? Yeah.
Yep. Minutes, I don't think we had any minutes tonight. Nope.
Oh, what a tragedy.
Budget update, any budget update?
Yes, there's no budget report. Carl will do that at the next meeting, but I wanted to inform the school committee that at this point actually in the fiscal '08 budget, that special education budget is looking at a deficit. This is an unanticipated deficit due to increased tuition costs, increased enrollment, children who have moved into our district since the budget was passed and approved, and that has resulted in increased tuition costs, transportation costs, and legal costs. And at the moment, that may be approaching $280,000. We obviously, that as a school department, will work very aggressively within our current budget to try to manage that, but it is very likely that later in the year we may need to have assistance, and that may either come through a request for transfer from the town's emergency reserve account, or it may request additional funding for the FY08 budget as part of the April town meeting. Carl Nelson and I, and Christine Danjo and I, will schedule shortly a meeting with the Finance Committee to review the details. We've already informed Abby Hurlbut and Don Kelleher from the Finance Committee, as well as Bob Messeri and Phil Dardino and the town administrator at the last finance planning team. But we think it deserves a direct meeting with the Finance Committee meeting now rather than later.
Okay, so this is $280,000 on top of what we budgeted going into this school year?
Right. I mean, we always try to budget, anticipate some level of increases in tuitions, but all of this is due to new IEPs that were written, either for students who continued in our school district or new students who moved in between the time when the budget was approved and where we are today.
Questions? Is there any staffing report, David?
No.
And there are no bids and donations tonight. Subcommittee reports. No specific subcommittee reports, but I think Dr. Trope wanted to review citizen involvement, correct?
Did. That's under administrative report. And we had an article in the paper last week talking about the importance of community and citizen involvement. And clearly, just hearing the presentation here from the Batchelder School, the school level involvement by parents and other citizens is very, very strong. And I think it speaks volumes to the commitment that the community has to our schools. There are opportunities for people to be involved district-wide. And we've already mentioned the School Finance Strategies Committee. This group is taking a look at ways to improve overall funding in the schools, and it was the School Finance Strategies Committee that actually took the first stab at doing benchmarking. A lot of this a year ago was done pretty much with the individual members of this committee trying to pull together data. So now they have the municipal benchmark report, which serves as a tremendous resource for them. But we are looking for more people who are interested in school finance. Another district-wide committee is the Health Advisory Committee. And this group, this is actually a mandated group under federal health and wellness policy and our own school committee policy. It's not just the ban the chocolate chip cookies from the schools committee, but this looks at food services.
Yeah.
It's a big part of it, though.
Big part of it. They are clearly focused on improving overall health and wellness for kids and for staff.
Yeah, gym classes back.
Well, we could do that as well. The Superintendent's Advisory Committee meets up to 6 times a year. This is a group that is really devoted to helping improve communication among our schools and the community, and they also provide tremendous feedback to me on school matters. And then lastly, there is a need to establish an education foundation. Very, very critical. The foundation's first goal is to be organized and to write a basic set of bylaws on how it's going to function. Under Massachusetts law, it needs to be established as a separate foundation. This foundation would be separate from school funding. Would not fall under the school committee. In many ways, it would be established similarly to the Citizens Scholarship Foundation, but it would have the purpose of taking in any grants or donations or the EdNets program. Any funding that would come to the entire district would come through the foundation. This would not take the place of any fundraising that is done. And in fact, I don't see the Education Foundation doing the kind of fundraising that would be done at a local school level. But this would be looking at, say, going out looking for corporate sponsorships, looking for major donations or gifts that would be made, in addition to the EdNets. So we're looking for a core of people who, if anything, would like to assist in the establishment of this foundation. We do need some legal expertise, so anyone who has that is certainly welcome to be part of the foundation. So any of these, if you have any interest, give me a call or email me, and I can point you in the right direction.
Yeah, from the Education Foundation, I think it would be good if we could get a representative of an existing foundation to come and address the school committee for 5-10 minutes at one of our future meetings, just to tell us some of the things they funded, how they raise money, and because I know there are several active. I know there's one in Boxford, but I know there are several active education foundations throughout the area. I think we could have someone on an agenda. It would give North Reading residents a feel for what they do and what would be involved, and that might be helpful to get out through the press.
That's really active ones. I think the John Smithster, what's his name, Trevor?
Right.
He's active when he's in Ipswich, I think. I looked at the website.
Right.
And they do a lot.
Any questions? Next, we have a strategic planning update. I know this actually involves the Superintendent's Advisory Committee.
Yeah, this is, again,